Hey everyone, Les here, Methuselah Mindset. Welcome. Wow, okay, so I'm going to tackle a really tough one today, guys, and it is a subject that is very personal to me. So I apologize in advance. I'm already stumbling. If I stumble on some of this because it is very personal to me and it's an incredibly tough subject to talk about. You can see I'm struggling now. Obviously, you've clicked on the thumbnail. How do I get fit? How do I start? Let's dial that back a few steps and get to a place as to why would you be asking that question, okay? If, like me, it comes from a place of it being extremely overweight and extremely unhealthy, that's a question you're asking yourself every day, all right? So let me just digress a little bit. Humour me here, bear with me, as to explain what motivated me to do this video and how this came about. And that is because I bumped into an old colleague the other day. Now, if you haven't seen my other videos, I'm 59, so I'm knocking on the door of 60. I worked in corporate for a long time, IT, mostly in the financial industry, and I worked with a guy that I bumped into the other day nearly 30 years ago. It's hard to believe, right? And at that time, we were physically almost a mirror of each other. We both went to the same gym. We were running around, we were in our 30s, we're young, we're healthy, we're fit. You know what it's like in Western society, you're 10 foot tall and bulletproof. And I bumped into this guy and, just tragic. Poor fellow, he was sort of around that 130 kilo mark, probably closer to 140 kilos, extremely unhealthy. He'd just returned from the hospital where he had been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And obviously he's going to remain nameless, and I do apologise in advance, but this poor chap was in a really dark place. And I had a good talk to him, all right? I tried to get across to him the best way I could that I totally understood where he was coming from and empathised because I had been there myself. And I know that sounds so cliche and annoying sometimes if you're where he is right now. And I know that because that's where I've been. So anyway, unbelievably, he'd been on, and I know this is going to sound like a plug, and I guess it is, and an infomercial for our website, the methodologies.com, but bizarrely enough, even though it's only been going for a few months, he'd been there, he'd seen the methodologies.com website and had a brief look through it, and then whipped over, to the YouTube channel here and seen me, bouncing around doing the my hit routines and what have you. And, after we'd had our, this is Western society, right? We played this silly game where we have this very light surface conversation. We say, how are you? And yada, yada, yada. But then if you've known that person for a long time, you're able to have a more intelligent, more in-depth conversation. You peel back a few layers and you start talking about real stuff, which is what we did. And anyway, the reason I mentioned my website, I promise you it's not a plug, is he says, he'd look at the website and he says, he turned around and said to me, after we'd, been chatting for about 15, 20 minutes, he says, look, it's all right for you, Laz, all right? Hey, look at you, jumping around there with your burpees and your jumping jacks and throwing around your dumbbells and what have you. I'd love to be doing that, but guess what? I'm like 130 kilos plus and I've got no show of doing that. And, to be in all fairness and all frankness, Laz, you obviously have, you have no idea what it's like to be where I am and try and change that, okay? And I said to him, well, hold on a second, mate. I said, how much did you look at the website? Did you Did you actually, not just give it a quick browse, but have a look and read the about page and everything? Because I don't think you did, and he admitted, well, he didn't. Like everything nowadays, we want everything bam, bam, bam. He gave it a brief look through, and then he jumped straight over to the YouTube channel, looked at the videos, and yada, 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 and formed an opinion, as we're all guilty of, myself included. And I says, well, look, do me a favour. I says, go back and have a look at the website and the about page and have a look at my little story there. And again, I won't go all into the weeds of that, but the purpose why I'm raising this, and if you have been to the website and you'll see my about page, and I give you my little story there in my journey, and there's that photo, all right? There's that photo of me on the elephant with my son and the keeper guy that the tourist, took us on the thing. It's on the banks of the on the banks of the Zambezi River in Zambia there, and there's me, my son, and the tourist guide on this elephant. And at that time, because I was still blinded to it, I never even thought of myself as unhealthy or unfit. All right, I'd been young and healthy and fit and still, was still quite deluded. Hadn't actually looked at myself in the mirror or tested my fitness in a long time. I was sort of in my mid-40s. We'd just done a 6-week safari of Africa there. And I thought, this is a great photo of me and my son on the elephant. Made it up into a great big picture and put it on our lounge wall. And then, of course, my mates started coming around, and guess what they nicknamed that picture, that photo, which is on the website. Oh, Laz, we've nicknamed this the elephant on the elephant. That's what they nicknamed that picture, that photo, which all sounded hilarious and funny at the time. And of course, as we do in Western society, we don't want to be hurt or I just used to shrug it off and laugh and just sort of, had a big giggle along with everyone else. But I tell you, and I'm just being very honest and revealing here, which is tough in itself, after probably not even more than a few weeks, man, that started to get to me. I mean, it really started to get to me. Laz, the elephant on the elephant. And I actually properly had a look, an honest, an open, proper look at that photo, that picture, and I thought, oh my goodness. So I weighed myself, right? And I just still thought of myself as being this 95 kilo sort of fit, healthy guys. No, right? I was 115 kilos. That's, for my American friends, 253 pounds. Horribly overweight for my body composition, okay? And extremely unfit, dangerously so. I was just waiting to go into the hospital, but I didn't realise that because we don't want to admit these things to ourselves, all right? Yeah, it was an extremely hard and tough thing to admit to myself, all right? And then literally a week later from that, or after I'd sort of, gone through my depression period of my friends all joking about me being the elephant on the elephant, I was working in corporate at the time. We had a client meeting. I had a young salesperson with me. We had a really important meeting, and we went into the building. Meeting was on the 14th floor. Guess what? The lift's broken. Oh dear, we need to take the stairs. Whew. I knew before I even took that first step this was not going to be easy. Well, it was 100 times worse than that. My young sales assistant friend, boom, he skipped up those 14 stories, thought it was a great joke. Me, not so much. By the time I'd got up to about the 4th or 5th floor, I'm unloosening, we're in suit and ties, it's corporate, right? I'm unloosening my tie, the jacket's off, there's lakes of sweat underneath my armpits, and I'm feeling ill. By the time I'd got to the 14th floor, I honestly thought I was going to have a blinking heart attack right there and there. My colleague looked at me and said, Laz, are you all right, mate? Are you okay? Western society, man, nothing wrong with me, mate. I'm sweet as, I'm all good. The furthest from the truth he could see. He's looking at me going, Laz, mate, you need to sit down. You're not looking well. And, who knows how close I was to a blinking heart attack that day. And that was a game changer for me. I got home that night and I sat down. Well, I didn't sit down, actually. I went and had a shower. And I looked at myself for the first time properly in the mirror. And to my horror, it wasn't this 95 kilo fit and healthy guy looking back at me. there was a guy in his mid-40s, horribly, obesely overweight, and just waiting to step into the hospital. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And again, this is extremely hard to reveal, I've got to be honest. I did go in, and people, friends out there, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about if that's where you are right now. All of a sudden, you just get this horrible, overwhelming feeling. It just floods over you, and it's horrible because you just feel trapped. You feel hopeless. You don't know what to do. It just feels like there's nothing you can do. And you look at yourself and you go, oh my goodness, how has this happened? What am I going to do? I'm just going to be, for the purpose of getting this message across here, I'll be brutally honest and frank with you. For the next couple of months, I did all crazy sorts of things, ridiculous diets, stupid exercise regimes, which when I look back now would just, I'm not even going to mention them, they were just so ridiculous. But at the time, you're desperate. You're just going to try anything. You want that quick fix. You just want out. You just want a solution to the problem. And it was hard. It was incredibly hard. And I was incredibly lucky that I had a very strong family and friends around me to support me and get me out of that deep, dark hole, because I can't tell you how deep and dark that hole is. It's horrible. It's just absolutely horrible. And you just feel so helpless. It's ridiculous to think now, but you just do. And you're not alone. I mean, on that note, I'm just going to read you out some facts so that, just to show you that you're not alone. Where are those facts? What have I done with them? I always lose them. Oh, here we go. 19th of October 2022, and I think I've mentioned this in other videos, World Health Organization, so a legitimate source. Almost 500 million people this is only a year ago, 19th of October 2022, almost 500 million people will develop heart disease, obesity, diabetes, or other non-communicable diseases attributable, to physical inactivity. Between 2020 and 2030, if governments worldwide don't take urgent action to promote the benefits of exercise, the World Health Organization warned on Wednesday. So that was 9th of October 20. And the price of inaction and staying on the couch will be severe. World Health Organization said around 27 billion every year in extra healthcare costs. Here's another one. 21st of June of this year, 2023. In the UK, more than 40% of people have pre-diabetes. They spend around 5.1 billion pounds a year on the treatment of obesity and type 2 diabetes. Isn't that insane? More, the insanity gets worse, more than they spend on the police, the fire service, and the judicial system combined. You think about that. Unpack that. Isn't that a horrific fact? So we have got a horrific problem right across the board in Western society, and I'll include some links below. This is generic. It's in all Western society, the United States, and I've lived there and worked there. I've seen it there. I've worked in the UK. I've seen it there. It's in there. Canada, Australia, New Zealand, across all those Commonwealth countries, for whatever reason, culturally, we have ended up in this ridiculous place. Now, let's just unpack that a little bit, and I won't get on my soapbox, but just remember, it's actually, a large part of this is not your fault, okay? It absolutely is not, because you are bombarded by these multi-billion-dollar global, national, machines that are totally designed to make you live unhealthy, all right? Eat a whole lot of rubbish, drink a whole lot of rubbish. That's what you're up against, okay? That's an incredibly hard thing to fight. You're bombarded with it. It's on your TVs, it's on the internet, it's on the radio, it's on television, it's everywhere. You walk down the street, boom, all those neon signs trying to make you eat all that rubbish, okay? That's what you're up against. So, unpacking a little bit, and sorry I digressed a little bit, I had a really good discussion with my friend, and we're staying in touch, and I'm going to do my best to try and help him out, because there is a way out, even though it feels like there's not. And again, I don't want to repeat myself, but I have been there, guys. I absolutely know when you're in that position, you're overweight, you get out of the bed in the morning, and your body's just not functioning properly, okay? You're always tired. You're always tired, okay? And that's because all your organs are struggling with all that, carrying around all that extra weight, okay? Your mitochondria is not functioning properly, okay? Your gut microbiome is just going, what the Sam Hill? And it is struggling. Everything is struggling, okay? So then your mind, that mind-body connection, your mind's not functioning properly either, and you do, you behave quite irrationally a lot of the time. So, you're in that deep, dark hole. There seems like there's no escape. There seems like there's no answer. There seems like there's no solution. Please, hand on heart, there absolutely is. Okay? And, going back to the title of this, how do I get fit? How do I start? And this is going to sound cliche and a little bit corny, but you just start slowly, guys. There is no magic bullet. There's no magic diet. There is no magic pill, okay? It's going to take a huge amount of discipline, okay? An almost fanatical dedication for at least 6 months to sticking to a healthy nutritional diet and an exercise regime. But crikey, in order, because it's got to be sustainable, how do you start? The answer, you start slowly, all right? You don't overwhelm yourself and get all depressed that, you're not achieving things quickly. Just start slowly. Examples. For your nutrition, swap out all your unhealthy snacks for healthy snacks. Just start snacking healthily, all right? Swap out the biscuits and the chips for carrots and raw beans or some fruit, all right? Nuts and raisins. Just start with snacks and then slowly change your breakfasts maybe. If you're eating 3 meals a day, then change your snacks and your breakfast to being healthy. And then after a month or so, however long it takes, everybody's different. There is no one size fits all. Forget all that advertising and all those gimmicks and all that rubbish you're bombarded with. There is no one size fits all. We are all different. We are all unique. I'm just giving you some examples and methodologies of how you do it, all right? Well, that may work for you. Start with snacks and then maybe start with breakfasts, all right? Because you're doing that at home. It's easier to eat healthy at home. And then progress, over a period of time, whatever works for you, to your breakfast and your lunch are healthy, okay? And then you're going the whole hog and you're eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You're eating healthy meals. Now, that might take a long period of time. It might take months. It might take a year. Just do what's working for you and sustainable, okay? You might do it a different way. You might start eating healthy for 1 day a week, and then 2 days a week, 3 days a week, 4 days a week. Takeaway being, there's a bunch of different methodologies. There's a whole bunch, and I'll include some links above. There's a whole bunch of fantastic information out there, the legitimate stuff, all right, about how you do this, okay? But just don't be too tough on yourselves, okay? You are not alone. There are millions of people out there in Western society trapped in the exact same place you are. But just start slowly, okay? And likewise because those are the two key things you guys are going to do, all right? Your nutrition and your exercise. That's all you got to do. Get your nutrition right and your exercise. You got to do it, okay? That's all there is to it. And I just want to touch on something else too, which people get sidetracked by. It's got nothing to do with how you look. How you look does not matter. Let me just say that again. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. All right? What you're trying to do essentially is look after your organs. All right? You're just trying to look after your organs, the heart, the muscle, the pump of the body, your kidneys and your liver and your lungs and all those things. And if you're like me and you're knocking on the door of 60, right, all of those organs have been looking after you and working for you for nearly in my case, for nearly 60 years. Don't you think it's time to give back and start looking after them? And when you're in your 50s, 60s and 70s, you really don't have a choice. You've got to. Otherwise, you're just going to end up in the hospital. Okay? So start eating healthily and exercising, right? That's option 1. Option 2, when do you want to end up in the hospital? Okay, because that's when you're going to end up, whether it be type 2 diabetes, a heart attack, all those horrible, there's a whole bunch of cancers that are all and this is all the science, and the science has proven this, all right? If you're obese, if you're overweight, if you're unhealthy, if you don't exercise, those are all the results of what happens if you don't do those simple things, all right? Just eat a healthy and nutritious diet and start exercising. So sorry, I digressed a bit. I am passionate about this, guys. Exercise. Start 3 times a week. Go for a 20-minute walk, all right? Just start with that on, obviously, alternate days, non-consecutive days. Just go for a walk 3 times a week, all right? And then bump it up. Maybe do a little bit of a, half walk, half jog, right? And then likewise, and if you follow the channel, I'm a massive supporter because the science backs it, strength and resistance training. Start just doing the movements, some functional flow workouts, some stretches, and then build up to doing, some very small, try some of those small 10-minute HIIT workouts, or just, do 3 sets of 10 of some curls or some presses or whatever works for you. Okay, there's a whole bunch of information. Again, I'll give a plug to the website and the YouTube channel. There's a whole bunch of workouts there, not just mine. Okay, there's a whole bunch of legitimate, resources out there, guys, that have got great programs for us people in our, 50s, 60s, 70s and beyond. The information is there, and I do know it's hard sometimes to weed out the rubbish, but the good stuff is out there. You will find it. So, man, that's a bit of a ramble, but I had to get that off my chest. Okay, because I guess it just highlighted to me after meeting this, ex-colleague of mine, that it's still a very real and massive problem out there. And there were just so many millions of people out there that feel trapped. And there is an answer, guys. And the answer is healthy, nutritious diet and an exercise regime. And how quickly you progress, both of those things is up to you. Just start slowly. Baby steps, all right? You know yourself how you are going to feel. Listen to your body, okay? 100% guarantee, once you start eating healthily, okay, not only just your body, but your mind is going to start functioning and operating, 100x, okay? And likewise with the exercise. Just start off with very simple things, whether it be 3 walks a week or, depending on your situation, it might be 3 swims, 3 aqua aerobic sessions a week. Just start slowly and then very gently, gradually build up, okay, until hopefully you get to the point where, World Health Organization recommends 150 minutes a week. So, 3 sessions a week, okay, and that's all you got to do. And once you get over that hurdle, okay, once you start getting in amongst it and you start reaping those benefits, you're never going to look back, okay? And it'll keep you out of the hospital. And the other big thing, which is the horrible, byproduct of suffering all those afflictions, is you start, in our 50s, 60s and 70s, 80s and beyond, you lose your independence. Nobody wants to lose their independence, man. Come on. We do not want to lose that, all right? You get yourself fit and healthy, you're not going to lose it, all right? You will live better. You will live longer. Simple. All right, guys, thank you so much for your time. As always, please love, respect one another. Get yourselves outside. Get yourselves moving. You owe it to yourselves. Peace out.